You don't like the Real ID Act, and you've given numerous statements and speeches that you would like to see the Real ID Act repealed and in its place put something called Pass ID on the books. Well, that's not going to happen. This suggestion didn't get off the ground in the last Congress and has not gotten off the ground in this Congress. The current exemption or extension that DHS has given on Real ID to the states is now January 15, 2013. Are you going to extend it again?
Representative Sensenbrenner, first of all, I cannot take sole credit for opposing Real ID. When I was involved with the National Governors Association, it was bipartisan and uniform amongst all the governors that the line in the appropriations bill that was Real ID did not appropriately incorporate concerns of state officials on how you actually implement and was an unfunded mandate. That being the case, we did work with the governors on Pass ID, and unfortunately, for whatever reasons, the Congress decided they didn't want to take that up. It would have been better to do so. Now we have a bill. The governors still are uncomfortable with implementing. They have budget constraints of their own, but we agree with the goal of the bill. And the goal of the bill, of course, is to have a more secure, particularly driver's license. So we're working with the states, and a number of them, I think 22 now, are almost at the point where they would meet Real ID. Others are along the way.
Are you going to drop the boom on the states that refuse to comply or can't comply as of January 15, 2013, meaning that the non-compliant driver's license cannot be used to enter federal buildings, nuclear power plants, get on a plane during the TSA inspection, or is there going to be a further delay in this?
Representative Sensenbrenner, I can't say right now. There's a year between now and then to work with the states. I think the governors generally agree with the goal of Real ID. It's just how you get there.
Well, they're not going to get unilateral revenue sharing out of the Congress on this, so they can increase the cost of driver's licenses, as my state has. But your Real ID rules review in your shop only consists of 3 professional staff members and 1 administrative support person. And as there are more documents that are submitted by the states that are not in compliance, how do you expect to get through that paperwork with just 4 people working on it?
Well, Representative Sensenbrenner, if we need to put some more people on that project, we will. I have not been informed that we need to do so.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm getting back to the question that I asked and I don't think you answered, is that if states are out of compliance on January 15, 2013, are DHS personnel going to be instructed not to accept non-compliant identification to get into the federal facilities or to get on a plane?
Well, Representative Sensenbrenner, I really don't like to speculate on things that could happen over a year from now. I'm going to work with the states. We'll work with the states and bring them into compliance if we can.
Okay. When are you going to start informing the states of how and when Real ID will be enforced?
Well, we stay in regular contact with the governors, primarily through the NGA, about Real ID, and I suspect when they have their winter meeting here in January, that will be one of the topics that we take up with them.
Well, the 9/11 Commission was very firm in saying that we have to have secure ID after looking at the IDs that the 19 hijackers were able to get for themselves. And the longer this administration and the governors that don't want to do this delay this, the more risk the American public has on a terrorist that wants to commit a major act of terrorism. And I spent a lot of time during my chairmanship to try to prevent that from happening. This is still a hole in the system that can be exploited. And it's not due to a lack of congressional action for once. It is due to a lack of implementation by DHS, and it is due to a lack of will by the governors in providing for the safety and security of their driver's licenses. I am not for a national ID card, but the longer this goes on, if there's a major terrorist attack because Real ID has not been implemented for whatever reason, there will be a huge push here for a national ID card. So I think it's in the interest of everybody to make sure that Real ID is implemented the way it was written and passed in 2005. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sensenbrenner.